who's a mathematics professor at Emory and Henry and a great neighbor. And she's going to tell you a lot more about herself than I can. Welcome, Teena Carroll.
Hello, I'm Teena. I told Don I would introduce myself, so I will tell you a little bit about myself. I have been hovering around your community for about a year now. I do have my own button, but I teach math at Emory and Henry. I assure you, I've only planned to say 2 mathematical things during this talk, but I do more than math. I'm a poet and a painter, a reader and a writer. I have 2 kids, 2 dogs, and my husband Dave, who is here to support me while I talk to you. I didn't think I'd be nervous, but I am. So Mark invited me to speak, and I didn't have the good sense to say no, so here I am. I was trying to decide what to talk about, and I thought I would take a cue from Jerry Murphy and tell you about a podcast that I like. So I want to tell you about a podcast I started listening to about last February, and it has encouraged me and challenged my thinking in lots of different ways. It's called Feel Better, Live More, and it's made by a British doctor named Ranjan Chatterjee. So he is this very hopeful, charismatic speaker, and I listened to the podcast on 1 1/4 speed, so I can get lots of it in. I've taken some 6-hour car trips and listened to the whole time, so on 1 1/2 speed, some parts of it. So I've covered many hours of this podcast now, and I just thought that I would encourage you to take a listen and tell you a little bit about it. So I also thought I would start off by telling you why I titled my talk, Start Where You Are. Mark asked me for a subtitle, and I ghosted him. So you're going to have to figure out a subtitle for yourself as we go along. So I illustrated the words, start where you are. It's literally the only place you can start. And I really thought this was quite clever of myself. And it was only recently that I realized that you actually have an alternative to starting where you are, which is not starting. And often that's the path we choose. So I think one of the reasons we often choose not to start is because we actually want to be closer to our goal than we are. And we don't want to start until we're closer to the goal. So we spend time self-shaming or placing blame on others. Why aren't we there already? Why can't I start from the place I want to start? So again, I want to encourage you to just start small and go in the right direction, because that's how you're going to get anywhere. So whether it's a goal or a dream or a plan, you just have to start making incremental progress. Now, I know my husband's sitting here thinking, yeah, our house is a mess, and I'd love for you to make incremental progress. But unfortunately, you can't do all the things at once. So, anyway, if you have a goal, but it's going to take you years to complete that goal, it can be really intimidating to get started. So I want to just remind you that those years are going to pass anyway, whether or not you're spending that time reaching the goal that you want to reach. So I'll tell you a brief story. And it has the moral that to get started with something new, you have to be willing to be bad at it for a while. My social media algorithms have figured out that I'm fascinated by watching jelly plate printing. If you haven't run across jelly plate printing yet, basically you take paint and you stick it on a chunk of Jell-O. The Jell-O doesn't hold onto the paint, so you can roll it off on a piece of paper. And you can put all sorts of lovely textures and leaves and plants and anything trash, anything you like to make really interesting textures and impressions. And again, I've been watching these printings for months now. So I really hate watching videos, and for whatever reason, this just pleases me. I think part of it is because you have no idea what the print is going to look like when they start rolling it off. So it's always a surprise. But in any case, the William King posted a class on jelly plate printing, and I was very excited. I signed myself and my son, my 17-year-old, up to take this class together. I was very excited. We're going to spend some good time together. I have to admit, I mostly dislike the jelly prints that other people make. Like, I'm always kind of disappointed when I see the final project. And I thought, surely I am going to be able to make jelly prints that I love. Like, this is clearly, I've watched so many videos, right? I'm clearly going to be able to take this like jumbled mess of art that I want to see in the world and put it out on this mono printing process. You know where the story is going, right? Okay, so I get to the class, and I find the simplest things really difficult. Like rolling out paint onto a plate looks really easy, but it isn't. I found that I didn't like the way the colors I chose looked together. And I was like, I'm going to have to learn some color theory if I want to do this. And I did have fun during the class. I did notice that lots of people don't like their own prints, but like other people's prints that they themselves don't like. So it's kind of interesting that way. We can obviously maybe often see the beauty in other people's prints better than our own. There's a moral in that too, I think. But in any case, I'm a beginning printmaker with a professional printmaker vision. That's a hard place to be. I don't actually know if now that I've tried it out, I want to invest my time this way so I could be a better printmaker. But now I have that option. And again, I didn't know what it would take to get to this goal. And I think I might just choose to do art in ways I already understand. But again, another day. So a friend pointed out to me that as a society, we are completely obsessed with downward spirals. How many movies and books do we watch where someone's life unravels? American Beauty comes to mind. We watch with popcorn as bad luck and bad decisions compound each other. We never, however, talk about upward spirals, right? So if you make a small positive change, those small positive changes build on each other. So we start getting compound interest on our changes, and they bring more changes. So we never pause to ask, when was the moment that everything started to go right? Right? We often think back and say, when did everything start to go wrong? Right? Because we're obsessed with this downward spiral. We're convinced that there was this moment. If we'd done it differently, everything would be different. But again, the opening invitation said, the blooms that are the most beautiful require daily care, right? So again, we want things to go right. We have to start with little rights that build on each other. So I can tell you the first small change I made because of listening to this podcast. I started eating a high-fiber, low-sugar breakfast. Okay, this is not a very flashy change. I'm not even sure that talking about fiber is as a polite topic in... However, this small change made a difference to me. I started having a little bit more energy. I started randomly craving snacks before my 10 o'clock class. And I started investing that little tiny bit of extra energy I had in getting more exercise. And guess what? Exercise gives you more energy. Then you can invest that little bit of energy that you get from doing a little bit more exercise into doing maybe a little more exercise, or maybe making salads for the week, because, again, that's what I eat now because of fiber. So In any case, but I think it's a gift in my life that I really love vegetables, and they happen to be really healthy for me. I think that's a lovely coincidence in my life. So, but in any case, this podcast talks about all the different aspects of our lives and how you can make really small changes in one of them, and it supports changes in other aspects of your life. So the speaker also likes to talk about movement snacks. So if you do 5 press-ups, he's British, so he says funny things. But if you do 5 press-ups, it gives you a benefit. But a lot of times we don't think press-ups means push-ups, by the way. And I don't actually do push-ups. I just do modified push-ups because, I'm still beginning. So in any case, it doesn't seem like much. It almost seems like it's not worth doing. It's like such a small thing. But the thing is, you get more out of doing them than not doing them, right? One of my writing teachers in grad school said, you can do anything for 15 minutes. And I often think about that. Other than hold your breath, I think she's probably pretty close, right? So her philosophy was just do it for 15 minutes and give yourself permission to stop if it's not the right thing for you to be doing. So again, I use this all the time. And most of the time, I get invested in the thing I'm doing, because if I have to do it for 15 minutes, chances are good I should probably do it for more than that, right? 15 minutes is hardly enough to finish most of the tasks that I need to do. And a lot of times I'm just have the momentum, and it's easier to finish than start. So again, these small motions, these small movements make a huge difference. So again, a little public service announcement. Most Americans don't eat enough fiber. Also, don't get enough exercise. And I'm not talking about like walking up mountains. I'm talking about just standing up from your chair and moving around. So again, movement snacks, I highly recommend them. You're going to do something with those 5 minutes. Might as well make yourself feel better. Make that investment. All right, so there are 2 more ideas that I want to share with you. But first, I want you to picture something. You're laying in bed, maybe the sunlight's streaming in. You haven't quite committed to getting up. I want you to picture, what is it going to take for you to have a good day? Okay, a lot of people say things like, I need it to be a nice sunny day. I need my partner to wake up in a good mood. I'd really like a president that I can totally agree with. But none of those things are actually under your control. I'd love to hear, when we have our question and answer session, I'd love to hear some of the things that came to your mind. But most of the things people list are not actually under their control. So you're relying on something outside of yourself to give you contentment. How crazy is that, right? So no matter how hard you wish to wake up and have a president you agree with, if that's going to be determining your mood, it's going to be a long 3 years. But there's an alternative, right? So Dr. Chatterjee talks about something called minimal reliance. So the shorter you can make your list of things outside yourself that you need for inner contentment, the better. And again, taking small steps towards that goal is worthwhile, right? Maybe the smallest step is realizing when it's happening, right? Say, something is stealing my contentment at this moment. Can I control it? And if the answer is no, it's your choice to let it go. So anyway, I find that philosophy really helpful. I want to also give a caveat. Minimal reliance is not saying don't rely on other people. Relying on other people is part of what makes us human. And if you make it your goal to stop relying on other people, I think it will probably make you less happy overall. So rely on each other. It's That's what we're here for, right? That's why we're here, right? Because we want to rely on other people. So, all right. I'm still new at this philosophy. It's okay. I'm still bad at implementing it. But over time, I notice when I'm letting someone else's mood ruin my day, and remind myself I can reclaim my inner peace. Another philosophy that I've found very useful from this podcast is doing experiments with an N of 1. So let me just explain. N is the number of people in your experiment. If you are doing an experiment, usually you want N to be large. I mean, the phrase, an experiment with an N of 1, sets my teeth a little bit on edge as someone who teaches statistics. I actually teach my students to be skeptical of any study with a small number of participants. You should be skeptical of any result that comes out of a study like that. So this idea of doing a study with an N of 1 is a little bit suspicious to me. But let me continue. What it means is that you are the worldwide expert on you. So you're going to be the only one who can judge if something's making a difference to you. So there's a problem with experts. It's getting worse. There are just so many people who claim to be experts that don't actually have criteria that we would expect them to be experts. So they're trying to generalize knowledge. Often it's to get your attention or your money. So we're living in this post-capitalist society where your attention, your eyeballs, is a currency. You have to be really careful who you're giving it to. So you need to listen to experts, but you need to listen to experts carefully. You need to choose your experts that you listen to, and you need to give something a try. Being a kind of mindless devotee of an idea is often not a good path to go down. You want to test it in yourself. You want to be your prime experiment. So running your life as an experiment is actually an idea that very much appeals to me. It may not appeal to your personality type, but I'd like to encourage you to give it a try. One of the things about starting where you are is you actually need to know where you are in order to start where you are. So, again, I'm a mathematician. I like measuring things. I like numbers, and that may not be something that you like, but you can measure things without numbers. But in any case, find something to measure, because if you don't measure something, it's really hard to change it. So I have been using a heart rate variability tracker for the past year, and that has also made a really big difference to me. Heart rate variability is connected to your autonomic nervous system, and ask Erin if you want more details. No, don't ask Erin. She said no. But in any case, heart rate variability kind of tells you how your body is dealing with stress and tension and fatigue. So it gives you a number to help describe how you're feeling. That helps you take it a little bit more seriously, too. So in any case, I encourage you to find something to measure, because the changes in the measurement can give you some positive feedback before you see other results. So I think that things that you measure can start to change. My heart rate variability has been one of my great N of 1 experiments. I've learned some things about myself. Some of them are completely not surprising. My heart rate variability, it's supposed to be up. So the higher it is, the better. It goes up when I sleep enough. That's really not very revolutionary, right? Almost all experts are willing to tell you to sleep more. But I also found out that my heart rate variability tanks if I nap in the afternoon. When my energy levels are low in the afternoon, I always think, I I'm going to nap, and it's going to be different this time. Because, you wake up from an afternoon nap, and you're kind of groggy, and maybe you got too warm, and you always wake up. I often wake up feeling worse than I started. And I had trouble listening to that feedback for myself. But when I had a number that said, hey, that really didn't help this time, or last time, or the time before that, it helped me make a change. I actually still take naps in the afternoon, but I've actually found a way to make my naps help me, which is kind of cool. I've been doing something called Yoga Nidra. It's called yogic sleep. I've been trying so hard to get everyone in my family to try it, and I haven't succeeded yet. But it has made such a difference to me. Yoga Nidra, it's like this strange formulaic listening to someone tell you to send your conscious thought to different parts of your body and set an intention for why you're doing that. It sounds so strange, but I found it has really changed my life. I use it to fall asleep every night now, and again, I can see my numbers go down the next morning. So there's some other things that I've just found through trial and error, because, as I said, I like to live my life as an experiment. Taking a specific type of magnesium before I fall asleep helps my heart rate variability. It helps me feel better the next morning. And that's like a completely random thing that I don't think I would have ever found out before. I've been taking magnesium for years, but I was taking the wrong kind, and I was taking it in the morning. And it did help, but this helps more. And there's no way I would have found out about that had I not been tracking. And of course, I do experiments, right? Like, okay, no magnesium this week. Track my numbers. Okay, twice as much magnesium as I usually take. Track my numbers. Okay, so again, it's been very fascinating. I highly recommend it. Although I can't recommend that you all go take the same type of magnesium that I take, because I'm not an expert in magnesium, but I am an expert in me. So again, what I want to do as, posing as an expert, let me also say, I have a doctorate. I'm a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor. So please don't take medical advice from me. I don't know if magnesium is a good idea for you. But I encourage you to take my expertise just as an encouragement to go try something. Find a way to track it and see if it makes it better. Because again, I suspect eating pizza for dinner makes me feel bad the next day. I don't know if I really want to go find some numbers about that, but once I do, I'm going to listen to myself better. And I mean, that's clearly, I should listen to myself anyway, but anyway, that's my advice. Go do some experiments with an N of 1, and maybe an experiment you could try out is to try this podcast. It's called Feel Better, Live More, and I haven't told you much about it, despite that being my initial goal. So I'd be glad to answer any questions.